Welcome back to the latest episode of the Key and Mang audio experience. I'm your host, Mang, as always, with my fellow co-host, Key. Key, what's Gucci?
What's up, Mang? How are you?
Good. Oh, your audio sounds exquisite now.
Exquisite. Oh, I was low because my mic was on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm,
No, I was like, oh, your voice is like amplified as soon as you picked it up.
oh, great. That means it was worth the money.
hmm it is
What's up?
NBA playoffs, and it is great great time of the year.
Depends on who you ask. I'm so over the NBA.
Why?
I just feel like it gives me WWE vibes. Like back when I was in elementary school and all the boys in my class would be going crazy over these WWE matches that were fake and like purely entertainment. That's how the NBA feels to me. Like that's the best way I can explain it. It feels very like fabricated.
How?
How they don't play defense, they just shoot threes, and it's just not fun to watch anymore.
Okay. That's regular season when there's 82 games, but when it's the playoffs, different viewing product.
It is. It is a different viewing product, but like I've had enough for 82 games that I don't even want to watch anymore.
Yeah, and that I understand. That I understand. Yesterday, the Nuggets and Clippers were playing, and in the third quarter, it was like 79-76, and I was like, oh, this is a throwback to like the 90s because it was every possession matters, both teams intensity very high. That's just when playoffs get fun because they have time to rest, they have time to game plan. You're not traveling from city to city. You should give it a
But you
chance
watch
again.
it. I will. My mom was like, "You're not gonna watch the games with me. You don't like NBA anymore. You don't like anything anymore." And I was like, "That's not true. I watched all the college games."
Speaking
No,
of,
I probably will.
go ahead.
I said I probably will, but I'm more locked into women's college.
Yeah, but now it's over. So now you got tune into the playoffs and the W.
I know. That's exciting.
Okay, valid. But speaking of college, today we're talking about the transfer portal and how it's like the wild west right now. See players moving from team to team, coaches leaving, just a lot of transition and turmoil, I guess you could say, in the college landscape right now. But it wasn't always like this. And the reason why we're talking about this episode is we saw a tweet from a friend of the show, Josh Funk, and he posed a question about the transfer rules that we thought was interesting that we dive more into. And the tweet reads like this: Yes or no? Every player gets one free transfer. After that, you have to sit out a year. If you transfer again, unless your coach just leaves or you're a grad transfer. If you graduate and have a year of eligibility, you're good to transfer just like how it used to be. Your coach leaves, you can leave. So that's the premise of the question and why we're talking about this today. It was just an interesting thought experiment that we're like, huh, with how drastically things have changed, should there be rules and limitations on how many times you can transfer? So, on today's episode, we're talking about how things used to be, what it is now in the NCAA world, and what the changes means for athletes navigating college sports today. Now, with
Yeah, so
more,
before
sorry, real quick, with more choices and more freedom, it also means that there's more chaos and more less rules that are being governed right now. So we gonna hop into the old how it used to be and kind of discuss from there.
yeah, so before we tell how we think the rules should be, um, there was specific rules before COVID and within the last 10 years, rules were different, right? So athletes used to have limited transfer flexibility, and what it was if a player transferred schools, they had to sit out a year, and that was referred to as a year in residence. But there were exceptions to that. So if you were a grad transfer, so you completed your degree and then you had some eligibility left, you could actually transfer and play immediately. You didn't have to sit out that year and have the year in residence. And then obviously under certain hardship waivers like injuries, family health emergencies, things like that, then you would also be able to transfer and play immediately. So that was before, I believe, like 2021-ish. Now the rules are that you don't have any limit to how many times you can transfer. And if you do transfer, you can pretty much transfer as many times as you want without that rule of having to sit out. And that has definitely changed the game completely, especially with NIL being added. That definitely added a new dimension and made things a lot more chaotic, and there are some positives to NIL.
Yeah, I agree. I think there definitely are like players should be compensated, especially with how much revenue they bring to the schools, especially come March and when it's tournament time. How many people are glued in, jersey sales, all that kind of stuff. Players should get compensated for that because of the work that they put in. But there's no rules or limitations on how much a player can be offered from a school and when they are contacted. So people could be in the middle of a season and you find out that they're being talked to by some school trying to lure them away from their current program. And I think that just takes away from the allowing players to be focused on what needs to be focused on. And it takes away from the genuineness of a student athlete, even though they're getting paid now, but the student athlete experience is changing now. So in regards to the tweet, what I think about the tweet, I like his proposal of like getting one free transfer, no matter where you are in your journey. I think that's fine. If you're in a situation where it's not a good fit, you were told something during your recruiting visit and you get something totally different, should be able to leave. But I think if you're just transferring, there's a dude, I forgot where they're at, but there's a dude who's gone to four schools in 4 years since 2021. And I'm like, this is crazy. Or since 2022, I'm like, this is crazy. It's like, if you know you're not making it to the league, and I get it, NIL is you get the opportunity to get paid way more than you might get in your career. I get it. But I think it also takes away from the development aspect of being able to learn how to sit when things get hard and being able to problem solve of, all right, like things aren't going my way. What do I need to do? Instead of just like running to the next available option that's going to give you a chance to play and pay you more money. Like there got to be a point where you sit down and like, all right, I got to grind this out a little bit and work for my opportunity. If it doesn't come and I get to my and I don't have any chance of playing with it because coaching styles or whatever the case may be, then yeah, you can bounce. But I think you just transferring just to get a bigger bag. At one point, when is the bag enough? You know, like it does, obviously it's not going to lead to happiness, but there's a lot of responsibilities that come with NIL deals and having to fulfill appearances and obligations. And a lot of that stuff comes with being a brand athlete. So I think there has to come a point where you learn how to just grind because that's what got you there in the first place before the money came. And now that you have the opportunity to live your life a little better, doesn't mean you have to go chase the biggest bag. I think we can't forget about what got us there in the first place.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Josh's tweet. I think that that should be implemented. And I was thinking from even the coaching perspective, like it's hard to recruit when there's so many elite players in the transfer portal every year, and then you have actual talent that's being overlooked that are like coming out of high school because you're just shopping around in the portal for people who can come in and contribute. So I think that makes it like hard to recruit. I mean, I guess it could be a positive as well. But also it's hard to build a long-term program because the turnover is so constant, like how are you gonna think 4 years down the line with your players when your whole team could leave?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's kind of frustrating. And then you have people being contacted by different schools and you don't know if your player wants to be there because of the environment, because of you as a coach, or because of the NIL money. Like I feel like it's so many factors that weren't in play a couple years ago, and now you have to consider that as a coach. So I personally think that you should be able to transfer because you have toxic environments. Um, People aren't always a fit, and things don't always pan out the way you want it to. But I don't think you should have unlimited transfers.
Yeah, I agree. I
One
think,
transfer.
huh?
I said one transfer is good, but now that I say that, look at Haley. She transferred. She transferred from Louisville to LSU, and then if she was to be playing under this rule, she would be stuck with Moki,
No, no, she
and
wouldn't.
that's one transfer.
Because she was a grad transfer though, from LSU to TCU.
But that's still a transfer.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, it's still a transfer, but the second transfer, she wouldn't have to sit out because she was a grad. She already got her degree.
Oh, so we're saying that under this rule, you could transfer, but you're just gonna have to sit out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right, then that's fine.
yeah.
That's
No,
fine.
because Haley was a grad transfer at TCU. That's why she was able to play, I guess.
Because I was thinking like you left one school to another, and now it's a horrible fit. Now you're stuck there. That's kind of messed up. But you don't never know what you're walking into truly until it happens.
Yeah, true, true. But
But I
yeah,
think in most cases that should be the rule.
agreed. I agree with that. Unlimited transfers are just crazy. Plus, I think when it comes to like when you're not playing basketball anymore and you're in like a working environment, if you don't go pro, then it's like, are you just going to when things get hard, if it's not a toxic environment, like if the environment is fine, things are not going the way you want it, you just bounce and go to another place. And it's like it doesn't, to me, it doesn't build good habits to the as you start to age and to like get into your adult life, into your adult bag. I don't think our first inclination should be to look
Yeah.
and leave. And you got to figure out how to problem solve and all right, well, how can I make the situation better for me? And if you exhaust all your options and then you still can't do it, then yeah, no, I get it. But I think we just gotta be a little more, be able to sit a little longer through the hard stuff and endure a little bit.
Yeah, and then now you bring that up. Majority of people that we see playing, most of them are not going pro. Like 2%, 2 or 3% of athletes go pro. You know what I mean? So if we're instilling, oh, things get hard, you don't like something, leave, 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 and then you don't go pro and you're no longer in sports, you're gonna carry that same habit into your life. So I don't think it sets a good foundation for
Yeah.
like how to approach life.
Yep. That's my thing. I think at college you learn how to adult and be by yourself. And I think the things you learn in college will carry over to outside of college. And I get it for like if you know you're not going pro and you're just trying to take advantage of making as much money in college, like I get why you want to transfer because the more you transfer, the more your bag's gonna be because it would have to be bigger than where you were at previously to make sure that you continue to go up. It's the same what they tell you like every couple of years to move jobs is like to get a higher increase because if you stay at the same place, your earning potential is so and so, but if you move jobs, it's going to be higher over the course of your career. But I think with just having the flexibility to go wherever, I think it's just and knowing you're not going pro, I think there's a certain cap, I guess you could say, to where how much you can make in college. And I get why like if you're in a woman in women's sports and you're trying to go to the WNBA, I understand why you'd want to make as much money in college as possible because the numbers you make in college are going to be way higher than what you make in the WNBA. But if you're not going that route, I don't think you should. It's just I don't think you should just bounce to bounce to bounce because it's not a good habit down the line in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think is going to happen within the next like decade with this rule? Do you think it's going to change?
No, I think there's gonna have to be some guardrails around NIL. Because I think there's gonna be a lot more tampering, a lot more communication of schools to players, and I think people are gonna get mad. But I think there's gonna be a limit on how much you can offer NIL wise. I think there's gonna be a limit on how much you can like transfer. They're gonna have some guardrails around this ability to transfer.
I think it'll be interesting to see it play out. But if they do a limit to NIL deals, is that like the NIL deal that your school is offering you, or is that going to be a cap limit on like any NIL deal from any company? You know what I mean?
I think on the school, on what the school can offer you.
Yeah.
Now,
That
if you're big time and you can get your own like partnerships on your own, there should be no limit to that because that's your own skill set. But on what a
yeah.
school can offer you, I think there should be a limit on that for each school.
You ran the last thing. I've been seeing Flaunger on so many commercials. I'm like, she has crazy NIL deals that is
Hmm.
low key.
Hmm.
Her personal brand is really great. I like that because it's
Yeah.
like not just that.
Yeah. And SoFi,
I love
like I think it's SoFi. I've seen a lot of her in SoFi. And I'm just like, yeah,
it.
that makes sense. If I have the pull to get the attention of AT&T or SoFi or whatever, a big company, then I should be able to profit from that, but not a school being able to, if I go to Alabama, they are successful, so they can offer me the most versus North Tennessee State. Like, like they don't offer as much because they're a small school, and I don't think the size of the school should matter in terms of what a school can offer you.
Yeah, I agree. So if you're watching on YouTube, comment and let us know what your thoughts are regarding Josh's tweet. If you agree with his proposal, and if you have a different one, drop it in the comments as well. I think there's a lot of different opinions that can come from this, and give us a like, subscribe, and then if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, definitely follow our show and also leave a comment. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.